Broadcasting from occupied territories or the flea media, it's the Reality Dysfunction Podcast. A space where a diverse group of brown folk from across the nation explore the political experiences and social future of our Xicano Latino community. Control the narrative. Resist the dysfunction.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Ernesto back with another episode of the Reality Dysfunction. Today we're going to talk about life after COVID and have, as usual, the Reality Dysfunction crew with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hello, this is Reiner Delgado calling from Lansing, Michigan.
Francisco Lopez from the Inland Empire in California.
Dan Sosa, Saginaw, Michigan.
Cecilia Olvera, East Detroit.
Hey, so life after COVID, it's not over, but it's almost over. It's kind of like that point where the bartender says you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Have you guys seen the news about the governor in Michigan?
Oh, yeah.
She was at the bar. She was at the Land Shark in East Lansing when Sergio was performing. He was DJing, yes. And somebody snapped a picture of her, not him.
So Big Rich was getting buck wild?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she was drinking. So, I mean, it seemed like she's having a good time to me.
She's got her vaccinations.
I mean, now that you have your vaccination, I mean, is there anything that you won't do?
Yeah. Well,
there's very little
she did violate a rule. She did violate one of her own rules. So, I mean, take it how you will.
And she did.
I can say that I'm not going to be walking around with no mask, trusting people.
So, I mean, are you going to walk around with a mask or are you going to walk around with a mask on?
Mask on.
Wow. Okay.
I don't really do that outside, but when I go in places still like Meyer and
that's what I mean. Like I'm outside right now. I don't have a mask, but I don't really plan on getting close to someone. If I do, I'll go on the other side of the street, right? I'm not going into grocery stores and like businesses with no mask on because we're from Michigan, like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of Trumpers, a lot of conservatives who don't think COVID was real.
And they'll lie about it, about getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
So my question is, how are things in Michigan now in regards to the infections and all that? You guys were the hot spot for a minute. I know here in California, back in...
They are going down.
Yeah, December, November, we were the hot spot. Now we are leading, we're one of the safest places in the country, I believe, now.
No, we have a good number of vaccinations percentage wise. It's getting up there, and the other figures are dropping. But we'll see if it plateaus.
They're dropping, but just a couple weeks ago we were spiking, and then we went from literally extending things to now we're going to resume the world in the summer. Like my employer wants us to come back, and I'm like, whoa! 3 weeks ago we were just in the danger zone.
Yeah.
What did they tell you? What did your employer say exactly, Cecilia, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, luckily, I work with a good amount of progressive individuals, so we have a high vaccination rate. We're pulling on it. Our employer worked hard to make the vaccine available to us early on, and because we service and we provide so many services within Wayne County, we got to start taking the vaccine when it was just only open to the elderly.
That's cool.
And those who are immunocompromised. So most of us are a couple months out from our vaccine. So that's pretty much their stance. It's going to be a hybrid, work setting. They don't want us back. We're too big to all go back. Like company-wise, we're just short of 1,000 staff. So it's going to be like maybe I'll have to go in 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah, we had a discussion amongst just the people on my team. I was just like, well, why? What's the point? There's absolutely nothing I can do in person that I can't do from home on a computer. I guess when I go to events, I have to be there in person. But, that's like one thing on the weekend. One of my coworkers was really honest. She was like, if I go back, most of my salary is just going to go to childcare.
Yeah.
What's the point? I'm honestly, I would probably just find something else or whatever, because again, why if you don't have to, what's the point? If there's something you can point to where you can say, well, this is falling off, production's falling off, and this isn't working for us. Okay, well, that's one discussion, but I mean, just to say go back for no reason, I don't see it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, I know. With our office, they just the District 4, which is what District 4 for the CWA is Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin. I'm forgetting one state. So Wisconsin, Ohio, Illinois, parts of Illinois. But they reached an agreement with AT&T for folks who are working at home to extend that, because the original agreement would have been up in mid-June. And so it's got a 3-month extension on the end of that. Doesn't mean that they won't call you back in the office, but, probably not till fall now. So hopefully, because, same with Danny, production hasn't fallen off. Actually, sick time has dropped, compared to, previous years. And production hasn't suffered at all. So...
And to Dan's point, for Michiganders, if it's not childcare, it's transportation. Like, I'm getting an insurance discount because I'm not driving nearly as much. And I don't have to spend literally a third of my salary on transportation.
Yeah. I can think of no particular good reason to go back. I've moved most of my office from the campus to my house. I have my computers here and a lot of my books here. It makes sense. I mean, even in the fall, when we go back to face-to-face courses, I mean, there's still a considerable part of our curriculum has moved to online. That's for the on-campus students, right? We're like creating these hybrid courses that are partially online and partially in person. I mean, last year was crazy. I mean, but yeah, I think that the future going forward with everybody getting vaccinated and all of these changes, I mean, there's going to be some questions. Yeah, I think there's going to be some questions about work and just, how important is work really?
Well, like Ronnie was saying, the big thing's got to be sick time. They got to be thinking about that. I haven't had a cold in 3 years. I don't have any wood to knock on right now. So prior to COVID, I had not gotten sick in over a year and a half. And I mean, I'm really, I'm diabetic. I know, Todd, you are too. I mean, there's just no reason, to make people go back and to the way things were. I don't know. I have to see. I haven't heard a good argument on why people should.
That ties into, continuing to wear masks in public crowded places, just from I heard flu cases, just regular flu, influenza, of the different varieties, but flu, were just non-existent, and that usually is a cause of anywhere from 20,000 to 60,000 deaths in the country. And it just disappeared pretty much, because the strains weren't able to get passed from person to person, either because of, isolation or masking. So, that's a reason why I'll still wear a mask, going through. I don't care. It didn't bother me. I go to the gym with my mask on. I don't pass out. It's spaced. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you can't do this or that. I'm like, my 55-year-old ass is going 3 miles an hour at a 2-degree incline, with my mask on. All right. And I'm just, it's whatever. So that ain't no excuse.
Also to that point, people do the most at the gym, like just on a totally different tangent. Like most people have this idea that you just need to create this great big deficit, and that's not how your body works. So they're out there killing themselves for no reason.
Well, in education, here in my school district, they're having summer school just at about every school. And, they're going to be small numbers, but they're trying to bring classes back in, trying to bring students in for credit recovery. But I get the feeling, part of it is just to see how the ball is going to roll in the fall. What's going to happen, what's going to be the new norms. They're starting to work it out. Right now they have some kids in school, but they're doing everything online, The teacher's not there, just the students are there. So it's still online learning, but just inside of a classroom, Maybe it's for some students who really just need, that somebody watching over them, right, to get the work done. I'm not sure how it's going. I'm wondering, are they going to have enough teachers to cover these classes? Because I think that's the other interesting topic in regards to life after COVID. Here in Southern California, there's just, in my area, the Inland Empire, there's just so many jobs available. you know?
Oh, man.
Warehouse jobs, so many jobs. What's going to happen with the workers? Now all those people that were deported, I'm wondering if we're going to start calling them back. Hey, come back, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, and look at it. The wages went up, right? So if you're paying your teachers a pittance, they can go work, you know, wherever for $20 an hour. And like, hey, I'm working the same hours, less stress, making the same money. You know, I mean, that just shows how poorly they were paid and treated. You know, all of a sudden, you know, you want to call them essential, but you don't pay them essential.
Well, we went to, okay, I'm going to tell you, life after COVID for us, I mean, once I got my vaccines and we waited our 2 weeks, we were still really not doing a lot. But last week when the CDC said that if you've been vaccinated, you know, you don't necessarily need to wear a mask, that you should take it with you and you should continue to do that, which just for anybody that's listening, I do that. I carry my mask with me everywhere. But last week, man, I went on the day that I read that article, I went into a restaurant and took my mask off and had lunch because I was just like, I was like, what? I was like, this is what's up, man. Like, I can't even.
Well, you got to take it off to eat.
Yeah, well,
but this is another thing. Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say this is another thing. Like my friends and I are joking, like, oh, we don't want to wear a mask, but we don't want to look like Trumpers and Republicans and conservatives.
Here, most of the businesses are still requiring you to wear a mask.
Yeah, here
too. You go in. I went to a restaurant too on Sunday. You had to wear your mask. As soon as you came in, they checked your temperature. They had the hand sanitizer, asked you to sanitize your hands and keep your mask on until they actually brought you the food.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for small businesses, it's just not worth the liability.
Yeah. Well, when we were at that pizza place, the lady she had been working there the whole time, and we hadn't seen her, you know, in over a year. It's a place that we go to quite a bit, and she was talking to these other people as this older white couple, and she was talking about how like they really need help there because they're having a hard time finding people to do the work, and the guy started like talking about like how they needed to force people to go back to work and all this kind of stuff. And I know, you know, and the thing is that I can tell I'm getting old because there was a part of me that wanted to be like, why the fuck should anybody come back here to work for like $2 an hour? Like that doesn't make any sense. You know, I mean, maybe if you guys paid people enough money so that they could actually live, then you wouldn't have a problem getting people to come back. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous the ways that people think that we should spend our lives in their service. I'm not.
You know, that $2.13 or whatever that non-tipped or tipped workers. I mean, it's not an exaggeration. That's really that's really what they make. But I was going to say I went to a quinceañera on Saturday. Which shit, man, I hadn't even realized how long it's been since I've been to one of those, and. You know, there's like 150, 200 people there, and pretty much nobody had a mask on once they got inside the building.
Yeah.
There are people, you know, and I mean, everybody seemed okay. I don't know if everybody was vaccinated or not. Food was fucking amazing. I don't know if it was just not going to a quinceañera in a while, but whoever made that, they put their foot in it. It was good. It was really good, and everybody had a good time, you know. But, I mean, you could tell people wanted to get out. And I've got my nephew's graduation party next week, and we're planning for a lot of people. I just get that sense that everybody wants to get out of the house.
Well, yeah.
Go to events and parties. Yeah.
Because we've been in. I mean, even the people who were out being all like assholes about it. I mean, their social situation was all fucked up too, man. Because everybody just was like, you know, I'm just going to be at home. I'm really looking forward to this summer. We're going to go over and visit Francisco and Consuelo for the 4th of July. So we're going to have to do a special broadcast, a special 4th of July broadcast from the Lopez household. I mean, I'm ready to rock and roll, man. I am locked, cocked, and ready to rock. Seriously. I just wish I was like 20 years younger so I could really appreciate it and have a really good time.
Right now it'd be like it's like
take a nap.
I was gonna say now it's like it's 9 o'clock. I need to go to sleep.
Yeah, either that or take some amphetamines, one of the two.
Right.
but for me, the most exposure I have to people is I coach soccer teams, and just out on the soccer field, there's so many kids out there now, and sometimes I find myself, wondering, oh man, should I really have my mask on? Should I still have it on? I don't know, who's vaccinated, who's not vaccinated. Most of these kids probably are not. I would say their families, probably a lot of us are essential workers, right? But I do keep a close eye on the Moreno Valley COVID statistics, and it's fairly down, 100, less than 100, 150 average. And that's my best guess, I do find myself thinking, oh man, should I still have my mask on?
Yeah.
But running around, you're like, I got to take it off.
Yeah. Oh, I was really worried, man, before the vaccines really started coming out, because it really seemed like there was this surprising and troubling anti-vaccination thing that was happening in our community, like in the Xicano Latino community. But it seems like since, people have started getting vaccinated and a whole bunch of people didn't die, or, grow a third eye or an arm or whatever, that, people are lining up to get the vaccines. And I'm really happy about that. But I gotta say, man, I'm at least on my Facebook feed, it still seems like there's like a real anti-vax thing within like radical Chicano circles, man. Like people are just like not going to get vaccinated. I'm like,
and it's really hard because what do you do? Because are they hesitant or are they just adamant anti-vaxxers? Because the adamant anti-vaxxers, I just want to tell them go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
But if they're just kind of hesitant, that takes more of a conversation, and education. But there's going to be a core that are just fucking ignorant, and, I'll leave it to folks like Curly and them to properly clown them. So,
bro, my wife won't even let me have a conversation with people about vaccinations. She just shuts it down right away. She's just like, stop. She's like, stop talking about it. She was just like, don't do it. Because
my blood pressure starts going up and I'm just like, first I want to smack them around a little bit. I was like, because you're just not going to listen to me anyways, you know. I was like, but, and then they start bringing sources that are just garbage. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to go. That's where I'm like, we're done. I got to go because, what can you do?
You can't do nothing. It's best just to get your vaccine, I guess, and go on about your business. I mean, I feel really confident about the vaccines. I've been vaccinated against a lot of things and I've never gotten any one of those things. And so, I'm like, they seem like they work to me.
Well, what I got last year before the this pandemic? I got the Shingrix because you know what? I had chickenpox before there was a chickenpox, before there was a varicella vaccine. And you know what I don't want? I don't want motherfucking shingles, okay? So
I never had chickenpox.
I did. So yeah, I don't plan on enjoying shingles if I can help it. So,
I'm embarrassed to tell you guys this, but as a kid, I was not vaccinated.
Why?
At the time, so my dad was a vegan, right? Because of a lot of the things that he learned about, the way they process meat in this, in this country especially. And, he was just worried, about the vaccines causing problems.
Oh, they only made me a little bit autistic, man.
Right?
Yeah. Well, there is some truth to that. It's just a very small percentage of people that it happens to. And I did get to a point in school where they were like, look, you can't come here if you don't get vaccinated. So then I got vaccinated.
Yeah, I was well on the spectrum before I got vaccinated. So
my mom didn't allow me to get a bunch of the vaccines, and I had to make them up as an adult.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
I just got my Tdap booster at the start of this month.
I'll tell you what.
I don't like lockjaw.
But I'll tell you what. If you've ever seen somebody with whooping cough, you'll go get your vaccine. Because I have seen people with whooping cough, and it's shocking.
Yeah, pertussis is awful.
Yeah, pertussis, that's what it's called. I mean, I freaked out, because I had never seen anybody cough like that before. Like I had no idea what it was. And I didn't know until, and even when we would go in and talk to doctors, they didn't know, like we would describe it to them and they didn't know what it was. They thought that Leona had asthma. And then finally we got into this old lady. She was a pediatrician, an old lady doctor. And she says, well, what's it like when she starts doing it? And I like demonstrated it for her. And she goes, oh, she has pertussis or whooping cough. And I was just like, dang. And then, I mean, I was like, yeah, I can see how that could kill little kids and old people. I mean, if you start coughing like that, you can't breathe.
And that just demonstrates the actual success of the vaccine, that it took an old pre-vaccination doctor to recognize the symptoms of pertussis, whereas, the other folks might have read about it, but they've never encountered it.
Yeah. I'd never heard anybody cough like that before in my life. It was just shocking. It was scary.
Have you guys ever looked at the polio vaccine?
Yeah.
Looked at it.
So, so Rotarians, right? They're a worldwide organization. Mm-hmm. And worldwide, one of the things that they've contributed to taking on is the polio vaccine. And polio has almost been eliminated from the face of the earth because of vaccinations.
Right, because there's no wild, what do they call it, pool of like an animal or anything that lives in. It's only humans.
Got mine right there.
Right.
I still got the mark.
Right. The only places that it really exists now are in some Muslim countries where Muslims don't want anything to do with a vaccination that comes from any other group of people. So you see a couple pockets of it here and there. And partially, they're hesitant to take it. I get it, right? And it came up in a Rotary meeting. I used to be in the Rotary in Frankenmuth years ago, and somebody said that they are like, so it's because of the Muslims. They don't want to let people get the vaccination. And the guy that was giving the presentation about it was like, well, if a Muslim person came here and wanted to give your kid a vaccination, would you let them? And it was like, so you can see the hesitancy or whatever. And I'm not saying that either viewpoint is valid. I'm just saying that, it's been pretty much proven that vaccinations can wipe out disease.
But there's one more thing to that, though. The CIA actually did send in, quote, aid workers to give, quote, polio vaccines. Or I should say the CIA sent in agents undercover as aid workers giving out vaccines. So that kind of, I mean,
the reason I bring it up is because what I find amazing is that with science, with vaccinations, you can actually eliminate a disease that has been a scourge worldwide just by vaccinating.
Well, it's like with smallpox. Smallpox is eradicated because there's no wild pool, out in the, no pool out in the wild for it to be a reservoir.
Except for the sample, they got tucked away in a lab somewhere.
In a couple labs.
Ready to get exposed out into the world again.
Hey guys, I got to go and get stabbed in the eye, so I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
4:00. See ya.
Yep. So that's tough, man.
So what about the world, though? What about the rest of the world with the COVID? India was in terrible shape. I'm not sure about any. I mean, how many vaccines does Africa got? I know in Mexico, they've done more or less. I think right now they're at people 50 and up, I believe. I even had some cousins that were asking me, hey, so if I come over there, can I get the vaccine? And I know here in California, it got to the point where they're looking for people to get the vaccine.
Yeah, that's the part that's really troubling. It's just like, okay, I mean, if these people really don't want the vaccination, then let's bring in some people who do, and let's get it on, because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can't force people to. Well, I suppose you could force people to do things that will probably save their lives, but I mean, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, that's my concern right now more than anything. Is this going to, some mutation going to come back to us? People are going to start traveling more. We know how easily viruses spread now.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys, we're coming to the end of our time, but before we go, let's do this. We started this off with talking about life after COVID. So let's just go around real quick and say one thing that we're going to do this summer to celebrate life after COVID, or, return to normal or something like that. So anybody want to start?
Sure. Life after COVID. I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to go somewhere that's, further than 50 miles away from my home somewhere. I'm not sure about if it'll be an airplane or not, but I'm ready to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But it'd probably be somewhere where I can be limited or somewhat secluded from others,
Yeah. I can tell you that for me this summer, I'm ready to be in a room full of people. I'm just ready to be in a room full of people, and talking to them and just enjoying their company. Really, I became a little bit of a hermit after I moved here to Prescott, but I think I'm going to probably break that routine because last year was enough isolation for me to last a lifetime.
So you're going back to church, huh?
Yeah, buddy. Wade in the water. I'm going to wade in the water of humanity, son. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make them all breathe on me. It'll be my communion, my Eucharist. Well, their breath will be my Eucharist. Is that profane enough for you guys?
Sacrilegious. I don't know about profane.
Go ahead, Danny. What you got?
Oh shit, I'm flat fucking broke. For those of you that know me, because we had that business or whatever for a while. I'd got to deal with bankruptcy court, so I had no fucking money to go anywhere fun or do any kind of traveling. But maybe I'll go to a baseball game. I guess I'm kind of looking forward to doing that. But yeah, something that I didn't do all of last year that I normally would have done.
Yeah. All right. And Cecilia Overa, you get the last word.
I am going to be up my grandparents, but the Salem. I haven't gotten to see them a lot through all of this. They've survived a pandemic and a flood, so I'm going to be there. I'm going to, try to make more time with my family and just, let this be a restart and not go back to my old pre-COVID ways.
You're a good daughter. All right.
Great.
All right. See you all next week.
Sounds good.
This is the Reality Dysfunction.